Hi, it's Mona here at the Pain-Free Body. Now, today we're going to be showing you 5 exercises that you may not have tried before to help an anterior pelvic tilt. So this is when your pelvis is tilted forwards and you've got a large curve in your lower back, also called lordosis, and sometimes you might have some upper back rounding as well because of the change in your spine position. Now, I made the mistake of trying to fix my anterior pelvic tilt by stretching my hip flexors, strengthening my glutes and my hamstrings to try and get my pelvis to tilt backwards. And this is what I was told to do by my personal trainer. But 3 years later, I still had an anterior pelvic tilt, I still had a massive curve in my lower back, and I still had back pain and sciatic pain. So I don't want you to make the same mistake as me and waste your time on exercises that don't work. The exercises that I'm going to show you shortly are going to target the whole body, because an anterior pelvic tilt is not just a pelvic problem. We need to look at what's going on in your whole body, what's going on in your feet, in your hips, your upper body, that is causing your pelvis to be in the position that it's in. So we're going to take a full body approach to realign your whole body, and you will get much better results. So a couple of ground rules. As always, this video is not intended to be medical advice, so check with a professional if you have a medical issue that might need attention. Secondly, pay special attention to the form that I show in the videos. That is crucial. Small deviations from how you do the exercise will change the result you get. The secret sauce is in the way you do the exercise. And lastly, if any of the exercise causes you pain, skip it, move on to the next one. If you haven't moved well or functioned well in a while, you might experience discomfort with some of these exercises just because of your body right now and the functionality that you're bringing to the exercises. So take it slow, listen to your body, and skip it if it's causing pain. And if you like these exercises and you can feel that your body's benefiting, it's changing, your functionality is improving, check out the link in the description below to find out more about the Pain-Free Movement Program and how I can help you live your life without pain. So let's get into it.
Lie on your back with your hips as close to the chair as possible and your legs resting on the chair. Your knees are directly over your hips, not in front of your hips. We want a pillow to ensure that the calves and the muscles of the lower leg are supported as well. If you're on a chair that's too low, you might have a lot of space behind your legs and it won't be able to support you, so your legs might fall out to the side. If it's a good height, you're going to feel really nice and rested here and supported without any effort or energy spent keeping your legs in position. But if you also have a really tight hip or a pretty strong hip imbalance, you might notice that one knee might want to torque outwards and rotate out to the side. So if you notice that, then I don't want you to use any effort to hold the leg in position. I want you to use a strap, or you can use a dressing gown cord or a belt or whatever you have to hand here. So if your leg falls out to the side, I want that strap to do the work of holding your legs together. From here, let your legs fall out against the strap. Now the reason for that is the entire intention of this exercise is to shut down as reasonably as possible the tension in your neuromuscular system. So I don't want any work to happen here. This exercise helps to settle how the left and the right side are working and bring both sides of your nervous system and both sides of your muscular system back to a more ready state, a balanced state, so that when we ask them to work, they've got a greater chance of working together instead of working with imbalances or compensations. So your job is to do exactly that, to just relax. There's no work that needs to be done here. We're using gravity and the floor as a template to settle and realign the body. Your hands are out by your side at a 45-degree angle with your palms face up. And you can close your eyes and take a couple of deep, slow inhales. Inhale through the nose and out through the mouth. Oftentimes, we put our body through so much stress, so much work, just to get through our days, just to get through life, that we deserve to learn positions like this that let all of that just slow down and relax. And understand that we can breathe and still make a huge positive impact on the way that we're feeling and moving. Not all exercises have to be work. And one of the greatest challenges is understanding that you can actually heal a lot of the problems with the body by taking work out. It's not always about putting work in. And if we can use this position to relax inefficient compensatory patterns, then we'll be on a good track to making positive changes to our body. It can relax the strength of a muscle spasm and just give you some relief. This position is going to be an incredible tool for you to start using on a daily basis, to start getting some relief and to make a change if you get a lot of discomfort during your day. This exercise is allowing your upper body to settle and unrotate, and the better your upper body is functioning, the better the lower body will function too. Now, you can stay here, but some of you might want to interlace your hands behind and put them behind your head. If you do interlace your hands together, that might actually feel really good if you're somebody that has a shoulder disparity, so one shoulder might be higher than the other, or one side is more rotated forward than the other. So bringing both hands behind your head can help open up your chest and put both shoulders in the same position. So choose, play around with which position feels more comfortable for you. Take a couple more really nice, slow, deep breaths. And I want you to feel how the chair is holding your legs and feel how the floor is holding your upper body. One of the many benefits, aside from taking your nervous system from a sympathetic, tension, high state of work down to a parasympathetic state where things are a little bit more calm or relaxed. So aside from that benefit, this exercise immediately places your head, your shoulders and your hips evenly on a horizontal plane, meaning you're in a straight line. We're basically positioning the upper body laying down how we want it to be when we're standing, and that is aligned. Now, if you notice that your neck is a little uncomfortable here, it's because it's having a hard time moving to that straight line. You always have the option to take a pillow or a cushion and prop your head up to maybe give yourself more of that normal environment, which is the head in front of the shoulders and hips. And that's okay if that's you today. Over time, notice how you'll need less and less pillows, and eventually the head will lay flat and aligned with the rest of the body. Keep focusing on nice, slow, deep breaths. There's nothing the upper body needs to do. Notice if it's holding any tension anywhere. If one side is tense, if your shoulders are tense, just relax everything in the upper body. There's nothing that needs to be done here. Now we're approaching 5 minutes, and I want to encourage and strongly recommend to you, if this feels good or if you're still feeling a little symptomatic, then continue with this exercise for as long as you want to, until the symptoms settle, until that work and tension settles. And you can be here for 30 minutes, an hour, even 2 hours. It might take a long time to let all of that tension that has built up to eventually relax. So I'll let you choose what you want to do, and I'll see you on the next exercise.
Lie on your back and straighten your left leg on the ground and lift your right leg off the ground. Interlace your hands together behind the hamstring and underneath the knee. And from here, we're going to do clockwise rotations for 1 minute with your right ankle. And as we rotate this foot, make sure that your shin stays parallel to the ground
and you are taking your time. We want to rotate your ankle really slowly, and you might notice that you're skipping certain angles or ranges of motion, so I want you to go really slow. Whatever your natural speed is, go half as fast as that, and then half as fast as that again. The reason is that the goal is to rediscover the function of the dozens of muscles in your toes, your arch, the front of your shin. So take your time for that minute of clockwise rotation that we're going to do to rediscover the function in those muscles. And as the foot's rotating, make sure that your left leg is still pointing up towards the ceiling so that we don't have any rotation starting to come in. And most of the time, people will use this speed. They'll go really fast to avoid function. So pay real attention to how fast that ankle is moving and slow it down. So that was about a minute. Let's switch directions and go anti-clockwise with the same ankle. And it's also important to understand if you have any TMJ or jaw pain or teeth grinding issues, pay attention to what your jaw and your tongue are doing in this exercise. When the ankle, the knee, the hip are not stable, we will use the jaw muscles to clench down in an effort to stabilize our pelvis. So make sure to keep breathing, relax your face, relax your jaw, and rediscover this motion one repetition at a time, going nice and slowly. And ideally, these rotations should be simple because we're just asking our muscles to move the bones in the foot in a clockwise or anti-clockwise motion. But if these are hard for you, then we've got to ask, what's really helping us walk? What's helping us run if these muscles are not even able to move the foot well in this simple exercise? So the whole idea with this is that we want to get it easier over time. So from here, now let's do some point and flexes with the same ankle. Point the foot forward and pull it back towards you. So this is the simple action that we do when we walk with every step. It's the rolling toe off action with every step when we strike the ground with our heel and off with our toe. And you'll find that this exercise gets easier, and as it does get easier, your walking will get smoother and more natural, and running is going to feel more freer for you. So that's good for the right leg. Now let's switch sides. Straighten your right leg out, lift your left leg up, interlace your hands behind your left hamstring, and we're going to start with anti-clockwise circles on this side for 1 minute. And even though it's now early on this left side doing this rotation, you should probably already have a sense of how this foot is working differently to the other foot. Ideally, we want them to be the same, but if there are years of imbalance and compensation, asymmetry and dysfunction, then chances are you're going to notice one side is going to feel different, in different range of motion, different speed and different level of endurance. So pay attention to which one feels like it's fatiguing. And over time, you should start to notice both feet can be used the same way. And remember to keep that straight leg pointing up to the ceiling. Your upper body's relaxed, jaw's relaxed, neck's relaxed, abs are relaxed. Now from here, let's go the other way. Let's go clockwise. And remember, take this really, really slow. Whatever speed you're doing, let's go half that speed. And then let's go half as fast as that. It doesn't matter how many circles you get done in this time. We want to be sure that we're doing this properly to get the foot moving again. And we're actually engaging the muscles rather than using momentum to whiz that ankle round. And remember to get those toes involved too. So when you get that rolling action, get those toes involved by pointing and flexing and curling with you. The whole idea here is to rediscover function throughout the entire foot. And make sure that your shin stays parallel in the leg that's raised, it's not moving around. You might try to move your ankle right or left or higher or lower. You might get your knee involved. We want to keep everything really nice and stable so that movement comes only from the ankle. Now let's go to point and flex, point the toes back and point them forward, and again get those toes involved. Let's see those toes point and curl with every point and flex. So just as a reminder, in this exercise we're working on the strength and the function of the arches in your foot and the shin and the calf muscles. These are the muscles that are responsible for stabilizing our upper body. So it's really important that we work on our good solid foundation to have a good base of support to get us through the day. Couple of seconds left. Remember to breathe. And that's time. Great job with this exercise. Lie on your back with your feet extended long and your arms out at a 45-degree angle, palms face up. You're not having your arms too high up at 90 degrees level with your shoulders, because that will bring your shoulders up to your ears, and that's not what we want from this exercise. From here, bend your knees and bring your feet flat on the ground. Your knees are touching, feet are together. From here, gently and slowly open up your knees out to the side and bring the soles of your feet together. Then gently bring the knees back together. You're gently pivoting on your feet, nothing else is moving. Slowly and gently open up your knees out to the side, bring the soles of your feet together and bring your knees back together. You're going to be doing these slow reps for the next 3 minutes. Focus on your breathing, breathing into your diaphragm and not just into your chest. As your knees move out to the side and as they come back together, your pelvis stays stable. With a slight arch in your lower back, your upper body is totally relaxed. Gently, slowly opening up the knees. Make sure you bring the feet together with a gentle touch through the soles of your feet. We're not using momentum to speed through this. We're doing it nice and slowly and controlled, making sure the soles of the feet touch before we bring the knees back together again. In this exercise, we're teaching our hips to actively externally rotate and internally rotate. Now, you've just done a minute in this exercise. So as I bring my knees down and the soles of the feet together, we're externally rotating the femur, and as I bring my knees back together, I'm internally rotating my femur. All natural movements that happen as part of walking, running, and that you'll need in any sport you do. And we're doing all of this while having a nice balanced pelvis. Keep breathing, upper body is relaxed, shoulders are relaxed, your belly is relaxed. Nothing is working in the upper body, otherwise that's compensation showing up. The movement is only coming from your hips and your legs. We've got a minute left here. Make sure the soles of your feet touch. We're going nice and slow. Focus on your breathing. And the goal here is not about how wide you get with your knees. This is about getting both sides to rotate the same internally and externally. You might find that one side can externally rotate more than the other, and it's not about forcing the other side to match. Go only as far as the tighter side, and over time you'll notice they'll start to work the same. We've got 30 seconds left here. Nice, slow, controlled movements. We're not speeding through this. We're not using momentum to get it done. It's a gentle pivot on your feet, bringing the soles together. Gentle touch before we bring the knees together again. And that's time. Great job. Begin by laying on your back with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. Your feet are hip width apart and your feet are pointing straight ahead. And by that, I mean that the outside edge of your foot is pointing straight ahead and your big toe is slightly pigeon-toed. From here, let's begin to move your pelvis. Gently roll your pelvis forward and feel your lower back arch, and then roll your pelvis backwards, and the lower back is going to flatten. You can put your hands on your pelvis to feel this movement happening. And we're doing this really slowly, going backwards and forwards with the pelvis. The goal here is not about how high or low you can go with your pelvis. We're just looking to get that pelvis rocking around a horizontal axis, which is one of the natural movements the pelvis should be able to do. Now, as you're doing this, if you've not done this before or you're very early on in restoring your function, you might notice that your lower back is helping out to tilt your pelvis forward and your abs are rolling your pelvis back. And this is what happens when you lose function to your hips, and your core and your back sort of have to hijack the motion just for your pelvis to move. We're going really slowly, rocking that pelvis forwards and then rocking it backwards. The upper body is relaxed. There's nothing for your upper body, your shoulders, your neck to do here. So keep everything nice and relaxed. Breathe into your diaphragm, nice and slow. So if you are feeling your lower back or your abs trying to help you out, the goal here is to change that. When you roll your pelvis back, your glutes should be doing the work. When you roll your pelvis forwards, your hip flexors, the front of the hip, should roll the pelvis forward. So a proper pelvic tilt is the glutes and the hip flexors rocking the pelvis backwards and forwards. You might feel the abs helping you move. You might feel your lower back helping you move your pelvis forward, but they're not the primary drivers of this movement here. The glutes and the hip flexors are the primary movers that should control the position of your pelvis. Keep breathing here. If you're having a hard time to find these muscles, then it might explain why your pelvis is in the position it's in and the symptoms you might be feeling, because your abs and your lower back have had to take on responsibility of moving your pelvis. So in this exercise, it's about getting your pelvis to move around your hips, as opposed to a lot of other exercises which are about getting your hips to move within your pelvis. Keep breathing, keep your feet grounded. You're not pushing into your feet to get momentum. All the movement is happening at the pelvis, gently pivoting and hinging on the floor. And pay attention to whether you feel both sides moving together or if one side is slightly ahead. Ideally, we want to stay in this exercise until we feel both sides moving together. But work within your limits today, and over time, you'll notice your mobility increases and you get equal movement on both sides. We're not squeezing our abs here, we're not squeezing our glutes or our pelvic floor. We are only hinging on the pelvis. 30 seconds left to go here. Keep breathing, keep your upper body relaxed. It's not trying to help you out, only your pelvis is rocking gently and slowly backwards and forwards. And that's time. Great job. If you like this video, subscribe for new videos every week.